as a much bigger phenomenon. Now, I thought about it mostly from the point of view of Britain, I'm afraid, because I've been thinking again about Brexit. Dare I mention the word?
So, this year have like a very two important outer planet in Greece. I know Marcus don't use outer planet. This is not attack. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but these two bring some very important what I think in the astrology work, because first one is the Chiron move into Aries on 17th of April. And then the next one is the Uranus moving to Taurus in May. So, what do you think about Chiron move into Aries?
Chiron moving to Aries. Yeah, it's going to be in Aries, I think, is it till 2027? And it goes in this year, yes, 2018.
It's a long time in Aries.
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts about, when I was thinking about what Chiron in Aries might mean, I thought back to what I said way back years ago when Chiron moved into Pisces. And for me, Chiron is all the planet meanings are very symbolic, but Chiron for me is even more symbolic, and it's almost like I kind of went into a meditation and I came up with this image of for Chiron and Aries, water over rocks, because Chiron in Pisces. For Chiron in Pisces, I came up with this image of water over rocks. Because Chiron is something that's uncomfortable, that you have to live with, that you bear and you can help other people. One of the basic meanings of Chiron. And water over rocks for Chiron in Pisces, that idea of Pisces being a water sign. Imagine you're walking through a beautiful sort of shallow river and it's all sand. Then you come to rocks, you've got bare feet. Suddenly it's uncomfortable to walk on. And then I thought, how could I kind of extend that metaphor into Aries? Now, Aries is a fire sign, so what occurred to me was the idea of Chiron in Aries walking on fire, perhaps as a symbol, as a sort of, just as a metaphor, as an idea. Of course, when you talk about the feet, you're talking very much about Pisces, because Pisces rules the feet, whereas Aries rules the head. So perhaps that metaphor doesn't fit, but I thought, well, actually it does, because if you're going to go and do a fire walk, you need to be straight in your head, to have the courage and the faith and the confidence and the raw nerve, which are all Aryan things, to go and do that. So that's that idea of that discomfort, of putting yourself, daring yourself almost to put yourself in that discomfort zone, is one of my ideas that I had for sort of Chiron in Aries.
Okay.
Sue.
All right. I'm looking at things in a slightly different way, I suppose. I also did the thinking through. I often find the way to get a handle on something on a particular planet in a sign or something like that is to break it into keywords, to have a look at what these things actually mean. And Chiron, as we know, it's a bit of a cliched interpretation. Chiron is the wounded healer, which bothers me a little bit, because it's just the sort of thing that people trot out with, really. So it's basically something to do with some part of oneself is wounded, or some part of the body politic of a country is wounded somehow. Or is maverick, is standing out very different and kind of standing at an edge to the convention or something like that. And then you're thinking about Aries. So Aries is a sense of yourself. It's a sense of how you assert yourself, the way that you actually put yourself forward. Aries is like, get on with it, right? As Mandy says, it's a fire sign. But I'm thinking, well, when it goes into Aries, in a sense, thinking of Chiron as a much bigger phenomenon. Now, I thought about it mostly from the point of view of Britain, I'm afraid, because I've been thinking again about Brexit. Dare I mention the word? But we're now sort of heading, we'll be less than a year by the time it goes into Aries. We'll be less than a year in Britain before the ratification of the transition away from the EU. Even there's going to be a transition period and all that, but the point is it's less than a year from the date agreed. And so one of the thoughts that occurred to me is that there seems to be a kind of, amongst a certain section of the British community, and possibly in the EU community as well, so it's not just Britain, is a kind of resignation or something to the inevitability of what's going to happen with Aries and with Brexit. I mean, you know, regardless of my personal view, that's not relevant to this, what I'm saying really. It seems to be that there's a certain section of community, or quite a large section of community, and certainly the press and the government, that seem to have accepted that that is what's going to happen and there's no other way around it. There's a few lone voices in the wilderness that are saying maybe we should have another referendum or something like that. But it seems to be that there's a sort of a capitulation, a kind of a loss of one's sense of one's ability to stand up and protest or to object in any way. There seems to be just a sort of blanketing or something, and it's a bit like Chiron and Aries for me.
Do you think the Aries thing will make the disaffected voices more aggressive though when it moves in? Or do you think it's going to have the opposite?
There'll always be the disaffected voices, and yes, there will be an aggressionness. You know, that will bring out the maverick side of Chiron, right? You know, the mavericks. You know, the ones who do not agree and were never going to agree with it at all. You know, will probably get louder and noisier, right? But there's a very great, almost a sort of plot, but there's a great kind of agreement in the governmental circles, the ones that actually have the influence over the people, right? That there's nothing we can really do about it anymore. It's all too late. It's been too late since the very beginning, since the referendum, actually. So I think that there's going to be an even greater split over the next few months, right? Within Britain, but within the EU, because there's quite a lot of dissenting voices in the EU as well.
And that split, symbolically, astrologically, is because you're putting the sort of wound into Aries, which is the sign of initiative and sort of confidence and sort of going your own
which
way.
Becomes resignation and you know, feeling that you know, have to accept it and
It's
can't
kind of a
argue about
hopeless
it anymore. It's a hopeless case.
Right.
That's one side of it. And then the other side are the ones that are going to be more strident in their objections. So I think the split is going to get bigger.
One visual metaphor I thought, because I really like that walking on sort of prickly rocks for Chiron in Pisces. And I like the firewalk thing. In traditional astrology, you used to say Pisces reflexes to Aries, possibly through the Antisia, which is a whole other video probably that we might do at some point.
Thank you, Marcus.
Sorry. The point is, I think that I like a visual occurred to me. I don't know whether this resonates with anyone, whether this seems correct. I don't use Chiron a lot. I do look at it, but it's not something I really refer to. Crown of Thorns would be a kind of Chiron in Aries kind of thing.
Indeed. It's sort of like becoming a victim.
The victimhood of the person who is the Aries person is the person who is the naive warrior, the fool, the person who steps out.
The ones who rushes in and objects to this and that and does this and that.
And you end up wearing a crown of thorns. You know?
I really like it as a crown of thorns idea because remember we say Chiron is that pain and wounded we bear with it. We have faced it all our life. But it gives us something. So when you say crown of thorn, it's still a crown. So when we look all through the collective or collectively about Chiron in Aries, people stand out, fight for themselves, but they proud of themselves. Like what I say last video, when last time when Chiron was in the Aries was end of 60s
and
to
we've
the
got
early.
a video for that.
Yeah,
so there should be a little link or a banner somewhere.
Yeah, end of 60s to the early 70s. And then those the most important is the female right movement and the I say gay right movement.
I think so.
Stonewall at that time. Then they give birth of a gay pride. Say
that's very true. That's very
I have it, but I'm proud of it too. So what I think for individually, because a lot of people have Chiron in Aries because about its eccentric orbit. So there is Chiron will be stay in the Aries around something like 8 years or maybe even a little bit longer. He only stay in Libra only 2 years or a little bit. So a lot of people have Chiron in Aries. But what's that mean is that we have to fight for ourselves, fight for daring, That's what I think.
It's interesting.
Like, there's one other thing I want to say. I mean, I have rather focused myself onto Brexit, but actually, you know, it affects the world. You know, and I can't possibly try to speak for every country. But I mean, it's like the interesting this idea of this sort of split of different reactions. You know, will affect America and its gun laws too, and it's all its violence. You know, that's the more negative.
There's got to be something about the social justice movements here as
It
well.
is.
And
Yes.
the change from Pisces to Aries. I mean, the social justice movements are often quite strident sometimes, as it is. You know, whether rightly or wrongly. You know, there's the demonstrations are pretty intense. So I'm wondering what it means when there's a shift from the compassion for the victim, which could be Chiron in Pisces,
Yes.
to the victims going, "Stop this! I'm not going to be a victim anymore."
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very quickly, just to finish off, just a reminder that Chiron will be in Aries from April 2018 until 2027, and anyone born between 1968 and 1977 will have their Chiron return, which is another topic that we might look at.
50 years old.
Yeah. Well, Chiron is an Aries, so if you were born between 1968 and 1977, you will have your Chiron return. We haven't got time to go into it now. We will in a future video while Chiron is in Aries.